Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to be looking at some pretty crazy weather events that are going to be happening pretty soon. We're going to be looking at a storm that could be tracking across the US in the next few days. And we're also going to be seeing the formation of a polar vortex in the north, which could bring the temperatures down to below freezing for the east coast. And we're also going to be looking at a ridge start to form near the second week of the new year, bring the temperatures back up again. It's going to be a lot of fluctuating, so we'll just have to see what happens. All right, looking at the model here, we have the trough over here in the west. This thing, it's starting small, but it's got some ambition, and it's going to start moving across the U.S. This thing will bring a storm with it, and it'll impact the eastern United States, and we'll see the worst of the weather in the Great Lakes area, where you'll see those big clumps of severe weather and rain, and even snow. Honestly, snow more snow than rain up there. We're gonna be seeing up to 14 inches in some spots. I saw a consistent like 5 inches, 5 to 6. So, oh, you might get snowed in there, and then we'll see this thing rapidly develop over Monday night and Tuesday morning. It'll graduate from being just a little trough and it'll turn into a big polar vortex. And it sure will become a big one. Uh, it's a polar hurricane. Like we'll see this thing get super big, especially in Wednesday, and it really strong. This will just funnel all of that cold air south, and you'll see below freezing all the way down. I'll like draw a line at like Tennessee or North Carolina. That's usually where that might hit impact. Um, if you don't get under 20-degree weather there, um, Virginia and Kentucky will. But moving to the rest of the week here, we just kind of see this thing kind of circulate more. And then on Friday, we don't talk about the West Coast too much here, but we do see a big trough starting to move in. It starts to encroach on them. It's bringing a storm, and we'll see this just slam into the West Coast. And then on Sunday, we'll see this polar vortex start to die and go to Greenland. And then the U.S. becomes really boring. There's nothing cool happening right now. But there's something that's hiding in the shadows, and it's this little white spot in the middle of you. This is a secret low pressure system that's weak right now, but for some reason, as it moves directly south into the deep south over here, it's going to strengthen a lot. That's going to bring some pretty severe weather with it, even worse in the storm up there. I don't know. I feel like you could actually argue that 24 inches in Canada is worse than this, but more like lightning severe weather, that type. We'll see that happen, especially if you live in the middle of the East Coast, in the mid area right here. You're going to get hit the worst. You're going to get hit by the big blob, and then this thing will start to kind of elongate along the coast, and then you'll see it die, and then you'll see another trough over here in the west. And we'll see a big ridge push north. It spearheads all the way north in Canada, and everything will just turn red. It's all red. Even some of it's just like a deep crimson or white. Everything is just turning red now. Red is winning. It's a complete 180 what happened before. We had this crazy polar vortex, and now you got everything turning into red. It's like yin and yang right now. You got the blue right here and the red. We'll see. We'll probably funnel up some warmer temperatures up to the northern parts, but it's not going to get much warmer from there. Sun is still pretty far away from you guys, but it's gonna start coming back. And then moving on to like the last frames of this model, we'll see another trough start to form over here in the northeast. Another one slam in California. Actually, no, that one's just been sitting there for a while. I don't know why I said slam into it, but and then Alaska up here, it's just a white ridge. It's just all white. But we'll that's there's nothing. We can't go any further than this, and it becomes less predictable the more we go. So uh, I would stop here for this model. But we're gonna move on to the next one. All right. So looking at our precipitable water, we've got moisture from the Gulf just living rent free in the plains. It gets kicked out by the dry air, which makes this really defining line. This will create a dry front, and along that boundary will be a storm. Especially up here in the north, you'll see that snow that I was talking about earlier, and then you'll see this big dry boundary just continue along, and then it'll go terrorize Bermuda. And you can even in this model here, you can see the dark brown lines and stuff rotating. You can see it rotate along the vortex. So it is a vortex. It is rotating. And then as we move on to Monday, when that sneak attack comes, you can actually see that that white spot is really apparent as you see it push that moisture to where it's going. That is going to bring the other storm with it, and that's where you'll see that severe weather down in the southeastern part of the U.S. And we'll see it move on. There's nothing really else crazy. I mean, if we want to look at the west coast here, we could see more of those storms slamming in, especially on Wednesday there. But other than that, that's all we had for precipitable water. And then looking at our reflectivity, we can see on Sunday night, or actually Sunday day, we have stuff forming. Uh, and then this will happen in 3 hours. You're going to be getting a lot of snow if you live in the north there. If not, you're just going to be getting a light dusting with some cells scattered throughout. And then we're also just going to see it push on and then go terrorize Bermuda. And then see not much going on. We'll see a few storms kind of hit the west coast, but we got to move to Monday to see where that other storm is going to come from. So let's go to Monday. And on Monday, you see that stuff starting to form here in the Appalachia region. And I mean, as that weak trough crosses that Appalachia mountains, uh, that'll just make it even stronger. Well, because it's not as crazy as if something were to cross the Rocky Mountains since they're taller and they're not as old. But these mountains they can still strengthen a system pretty well. So you can see it as soon as it hits those mountains, it gets a lot stronger. Uh, it's partially because that dry air, those mountains will strip that moisture um, from that dry air as it moves along, and that'll just create a perfect environment for more storms. So it'll just basically just strengthen as soon as it hits those mountains, and I'm just gonna get battered right here too. If you live in this area, you're also gonna be getting hit along with me. So and then we'll see it enter the Atlantic, and this is where it gets bad for Bermuda as it moves in and it hits them. Other than that, there's not many other weather events moving on. Besides this, on Sunday, it's just like a little small storm. But moving on, we're looking at Santa's forecast here. So right now, you can see like up here in the North Pole, I would say he's probably around the Greenland area. He's getting a big ridge. You might get some warmer air. Um, we there is a small trough pushing in to this factory, but that just heads south and goes into Europe. So yeah, I mean, expect a few degrees warmer in the North Pole for all you elves up there. And other than that, we won't see much else going on. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. Watch those storms on radar. Watch people's live streams because I don't have access to live streaming yet. YouTube won't accept my thing. So watch other people's stuff and be like, and just because I bet there's gonna be storm chasers on the job already because they've got nothing else to do for the season. So once they see that severe weather glistening, they'll probably go chase it. So I would pay attention to that so you can get some updates on it, especially that second storm that's gonna hit the more southern states. I'll ex- I should I'll probably expect more from that one in terms of not snow, but that traditional like lightning and thunder severe weather. We'll probably see there. Uh, watch out for the polar vortex. It's gonna get really cold, and then watch out for that 180. You're gonna have to dress cold again. So yeah, that's all I had for today. Have a good day.